Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. My name is Ayesha Rehan and I'm the student of ACCL Foundation level. Today, my topic of conversation with you, Maya, is about water, the origin of life and language. So, should we start?
That's a beautiful angle. You're all set. Go right ahead.
Okay, my first question is what do scientists mean when they talk about the origin of life?
That's a deep dive to start with. I'm ready for the rest of the list whenever you are. But I don't want to leave you hanging on that first one. When scientists talk about the origin of life, they're talking about abiogenesis. Basically, it's the idea that life started from non living matter, like simple organic compounds, over 3.5 billion years ago. It wasn't a sudden magic trick. It was this gradual climb in complexity, moving from just basic molecules to things that could self replicate, and eventually, the birth of cell membranes. What's next?
Okay, and my next question is how did the first living organism possibly appear on Earth?
That's the $1 million question. I'll check on that for you. So, since we're talking about water and the origin of life, let's start there. A lot of scientists think it all kicked off in deep sea hydrothermal vents. These were like natural chemistry labs on the ocean floor, providing the heat and minerals needed to spark life. Another huge idea is the RNA world hypothesis, which suggests that before DNA even existed, self replicating RNA molecules were running the show. And we can't forget the Miller-Urey experiment from the 50s, which actually showed that the basic building blocks of life, amino acids, could form just from inorganic compounds under conditions that mimic early Earth. Wild to think about.
Okay, and why is water called the source of life?
That's where it gets really interesting. Basically, it's the ultimate multitasker. It's known as the universal solvent, which is a fancy way of saying it's incredibly good at dissolving things. That allows all the vital chemical reactions for life to actually happen and lets water transport nutrients right into our cells. It also does the heavy lifting for things like regulating body temperature and powering photosynthesis in plants. We're basically just fancy water balloons, so without it, life as we know it wouldn't even be a thing. Exactly. Where are we heading next on your list? Still diving into water, or is it time to move on to language?
No, I still have questions on water with you. Then my next question is why is water essential for every living organism?
The short answer is it's a universal solvent, which means it's basically the delivery system for life, dissolving minerals and nutrients, and then carrying them exactly where they need to go inside a cell. It also acts as a cushion for our organs and a cooling system for our bodies. It's kind of like the world's most important plumbing and climate control system wrapped into one liquid. What's the next one?
And what do you think that what is the role of oceans in the beginning of life on Earth?
The oceans were basically Earth's first great laboratory. They protected those first fragile organisms from the harsh UV radiation that was hitting the planet's surface, while the deep sea vents provided the heat and minerals that sparked the first chemical reactions. Without that watery shield and power source, life likely wouldn't have stood a chance.
And can you think, Maya, that life would ever exist without water?
Honestly, it's hard to even imagine. Every single thing we know about biology depends on water to move nutrients and keep cells from collapsing. Scientists have looked for life on other planets, and they almost always look for water first because it's the ultimate deal breaker. I mean, maybe there's some wild alien chemistry out there that we can't even conceive of, like silicon based life, but for everything we've ever seen, water isn't just helpful, it's the whole game. What else you got for me?
Okay, and how do water helps plants and animals to survive?
That's a big one. For plants, it's literally their fuel line. Water carries minerals up from the soil to the leaves, and it's a key ingredient in photosynthesis, where they turn sunlight into energy. And for animals, it's everything from digestion to temperature control, keeping us cool when we sweat and making sure every single organ is lubricated and running smoothly. It's a lot of pressure for one molecule. Thank you. You're so welcome. Was that the last of the water section? Or are we still diving deep? I'm ready for whatever comes next. Anytime. Are we still hanging out with water or are we shifting gears
No,
toward
I
language?
no, I still have
Anytime.
questions on the topic of water. What is your point of view if there is no water on Earth? What would be the bad consequences of it?
It would be a total wasteland. Every single thing, from the smallest bacteria to the biggest whale, would just vanish. The weather would go completely haywire because the oceans regulate the planet's temperature. Without them, it would be boiling hot in the day and freezing at night with no rain to cool anything down. It would basically just be another Mars, cold, dusty, and completely silent. Pretty grim, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any more for me on water, or are we moving into language?
I also want to ask you that is water the only substance that can support life?
That's a fascinating question based on everything we know here on Earth, yes. But when you look at the rest of the universe, scientists have some wild theories. There are these places like Saturn's moon Titan, where it's way too cold for liquid water, but there are lakes of liquid methane and ethane. Some researchers think life could actually evolve there using those instead. Ammonia is another big one because it's chemically similar to water, and there's even talk about life using sulfuric acid in the clouds of Venus. It's all theoretical, of course, but it's fun to imagine a world where you'd be made of something other than water. Do you have more on water, or are we moving into language? Anytime. Where are
Okay,
we at?
why did humans need language in the first place?
We've officially landed in the world of language. That's a huge shift from water to words. How's the list looking? Actually, thinking about it, humans probably needed language because it turned them into the ultimate team players. Instead of just gesturing that there's a lion over there, we could make actual plans to hunt it together. It let us share new ideas and coordinate in ways that basic sounds just couldn't handle. It's pretty much what gave us the edge to survive and build things together. What's your next question on the list?
Can you tell me how did simple chemicals eventually become living organisms?
We're circling back to the origin of life. It's like a slow motion chemistry experiment.
Yeah.
It started with simple things like water and minerals mixing with energy from lightning or heat from the ocean floor. That created organic molecules. And then these molecules started acting like little building blocks. Once they figured out how to self replicate, they could start evolving and getting more complex until eventually those first tiny single cells were born.
Okay, my next question is that what evidence do scientists use to study the origin of life?
Just the real detective work part. It's basically one giant puzzle. Day one, they use things like the Mercury experience show that building blocks of life can act from scratch or thermal vents on the ocean floor to see if that street of everything, study RNA to understand how those may start themselves. It's all about piecing together these clues to build a picture of how we got here.
Okay, my last question is do we know exactly how life began, or are there some still mysteries out there?
The short answer is a huge, glorious mystery. We've got the theories, RNA world, the building blocks confirmed, but we haven't had that one aha moment where we've actually recreated the jump from non-living to living. It's like having 1,000 pieces of a puzzle. We can see the picture forming, but the center is still a blur. That's why it's still one of the in science. Where does that leave us? You've knocked out your list, so do you want to dive into more, or are we up the reporting?
No, I'm done with my topic. Thank you so much for guiding me.